There we go. Okay, let's talk about Alpha Centaurians. There are many people in South America who are having contacts with Alpha Centaurians. They're a very tall Nordic race. This gentleman's name is Antaral, and he is over 8 feet tall. This is his wife, Ivica. She is also tall. Now, two people that I garnered all my information from are Ricardo Gonzalez and Sixto Paz. Ricardo Gonzalez information is the information on what they call the Apunians, because the Alpha Centaurians always went to their mountain called Apu, and so they would always come to help the villagers. If somebody was sick, they would help heal them. If their crops needed tending to, with that, they would do whatever they could. So they made regular stops there and they were literally like star family to the Earth family in this, around the mountain called Apu. Now, in the documentary, Sixto Paz has been on their craft over 100 times. And it's a very interesting way to do this, is that what they do is they open up a Zendra. Now, a Zendra could be on their home world, or it could be on their ship. And they can open up that Zendra, and if they invite you on their ship, if you cross that threshold, you are now on that ship, right? It's a portal in a sense. Now, an interesting fact, a friend of mine went to a group to Mount Shasta, and they were out in a big open field. They were told by Ricardo Gonzalez that Antaral was going to come in his ship that night. So they all prepared by meditating, singing, chanting, dancing, because star people love people who are joyous and are very attracted to them. So the ship did come. My friend said it went over the pine trees, and the lights illuminated the forest. He said it was so beautiful. And there were about 6 or 7 people that were pre-picked to come and meet Antaral. So my friend was not picked, but the rest of the people were told to go back to base camp because they were in the field. But my friend stayed behind and watched it all from afar. And he said as each person returned, they looked like what Moses must have looked like when he walked off the mountain after talking to God. And, they said it was just such a unique experience that, and of course, some people, had fear, and Antaral was really trying to calm them down and keep them. So, this is really interesting that a race like this, we haven't seen this quite so often, is contacting people directly, like back in the early 50s when all of the humans were coming here and having meeting with contactees, Valiant Thor, with Dr. Frank Strange's, Salanda, with George Adamski, and so many, not George Adamski, I'm sorry, George Van Tassel, Orthon with George Adamski. So anyway, it's really interesting that this is happening and this is still happening. So you will hear Sixto Paz's story, which is amazing, and in the documentary. All right, let's move on. All right. Let's see here. Come on. There we go. Yeah. All right, let's go back. There we go. Here's the Pleiadians. This is an actual artist's drawing of the being that I'm connected with. His name is Tehran. He usually has very long hair. At a certain point, he cut it all off, but again, it's long. This is another commander as well. And they're coming here and reconnecting their story, their ties, their DNA to our planet here. And I will say I've had so many beautiful, beautiful experiences with the Pleiadians. The teachings of spirituality and how to look at things and how to handle things and to explain exactly what your emotions are, that they really are the tools that are helping us to climb up out of duality and become fully conscious beings. So in other words, our heart and minds will work together, and then the ego is abolished. So anyway, you will love the section on them. There's also a great section in the E.T. Almanac book. And then let's see, Venusians. So this is Salanda. No artist rendering has ever been done of him. When I was writing the UFO hotspots, I did a giant segment on giant rock and the integratron, because I've been in the integratron many times. Dr. Frank used to actually MC all of the UFO space conventions there, because George was raising money to build the integratron from the blueprints that Salanda gave him, who's a Venusian. They live on the interior of Venus, by the way. They say that all the planets are populated in our galaxy, and that everyone lives on the inside. This way they can control the elements. They have resonation fields that keeps their cells, everything young. Interestingly enough, Salanda came with the integratron. Is when it was turned on and you walk in one door, walk across the integratron, walk out the other door, your cells would be rejuvenated, and that you would stay looking young. It would help to eliminate sickness and disease and to prolong your life. So that's why they also have very, very long lifespans. Valiant Thor came with a similar design, which he gave to Eisenhower, to eliminate sickness, disease, poverty as well. And of course, talk to them about all different kinds of things, free energy, atomics, all of those things that are hurting the earth, hurting other worlds, hurting interdimensional worlds as well. So from all of George's descriptions, by the way, and I listened to every TV show he did, radio show, and all of that, and from the archives, he would describe a little piece of him in each thing. And so I had an artist create Salanda here. Now, he's 5'6", and what's interesting is I also met another gentleman who called me after I did Stranger at the Pentagon. If you guys want to learn more, watch the short film at strangeratthepentagon.com. He told me when he was 17 years old, he's in his late 70s now, that he was in Miami, and he used to see the glint of a saucer craft. And then one day, he said a gentleman approached him on the street and said, we've been hearing your thoughts about all the questions that you have about the universe. And he said, I'm here to actually answer those questions. And he explained what he looked like. He was very similar to Salanda, and he was also 5'6", but he said, I am a created being, and I created this facade just for you because this is what the least that you would be afraid of, right? So we know created beings, which are, in my opinion, and I had discussed this with Dr. Frank Stranges, is that they're pretty much seraphim, right? They are very high order of angels. In other words, we can say, they say about Valiant Thor that people who knew him in the government would say, I work for the hammer and the hammer works for God. Isn't that interesting? So, all right. So this is in the UFO hotspot in Tegratron. If you've never been there, or Giant Rock, great place to see UFOs, great way to have experiences. You do have to make a reservation to go there. So make sure you do that online before you go to get a sound bath. All right, so let's go to Agatha. All right, so here's a map of Agatha. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of information. One of my contacts, who actually was with George Van Tassel when he began running the Giant Rock Airport, he went out there because he wanted a spiritual life. She was there with him when he began meditations under the rock, because that's where he lived with his family. And he began channeling. And he was also one of the very first people to channel Ashtar as well. So now she knows some of the most amazing people. She actually was best friends with the Telosian, which are the ancient Lemurians. Now, California, over 3/4 of California was one of the big parts of Lemuria back in the day. And when they knew that the destruction of Atlantis and all of that is that they went underground, and this is where they live today, below Mount Shasta. Everyone that goes there is very drawn to that mountain, including myself. It's also the home of the great I Am That I Am. That's where the I Am books came from, through Saint Germain to the Ballards as well. They have an I Am reading room. I'm not sure if it's still there, but it was pretty amazing. You get bathed in all the colors of the light. But so she was able to discern a lot of direct information about Agatha. Now, beneath the Mato Grosso is where the ancient Atlanteans live. And then also the capital of Agatha is the city of Shambhala. Now, what's interesting is people who have journeyed into the earth, when they have visited various lands, they always talked about a priest. Now, we know that in Telos, ancient Lemuria, that there is Adama, who is a Melchizedek priest of the high order, and also a Melchizedek priestess. People have talked about priest and these other things. Now, where there are, I can't remember the exact number, but there are a lot of Melchizedeks that are teaching star seeds, people like you. So if you want to open yourself up to learn that, they can take you into night classes at night and that type of thing to learn more about it. So there is a great deal of protection from all areas. This is just a unique, different planet from anything else in the universe. And so everyone is here trying to help. We know that there's going to be the negative aspects as well. But again, if I was going to ever leave you with something, is work on yourself spiritually to raise your vibration. That's how we get all the negative beings off the planet who are doing harm to people, the environment, and various things like that. Because once we get to that point, that tipping point, they can no longer live on the planet because the vibration will be too high. All right, now, and this is Mikos. He's the librarian of the library down there in Agartha. You can't just show up if you try and meditate and catapult yourself there. You would have to be invited. But he's a very incredible fellow. He is extremely tall as well. I can't remember, but I think he's well over 10 between 10 and 15 feet, something like that. All right, now this is Commander Anton of the Silver Fleets in Mount Shasta. He and the woman from Telos, and the woman from Telos and Commander Anton, at one point, it seems that a lot of these races, and I find it in other contactee stories, that when they come here, that they literally have to pick a place to live and live there for 2 years to learn how to be an Earth person, so that they understand what it is to be an Earth person. And so him and this other woman chose San Francisco and that kind of thing. But he commands the fleets there and in a lot of the general areas. My friend who I've told you about, she actually does the section on Agartha, which you guys will find extremely fascinating. All right, here we go. Now this is, I had this rendering done of Saint Germain. I myself had an amazing experience with the great I am that I am in Mount Shasta. And the very next day I drove up to Panther Meadows down here at the bottom, and I had a lovely meditation. And but this is the location where Saint Germain originally met with the Ballards. All right, let's see. All right, the Melchizedeks. We love the Melchizedeks. All right, here's Father Melchizedek. This is Macaventa Melchizedek. So the University of Melchizedek is 490 university spheres, and each planet teaches its own curriculum. So when we're like on Earth, we're learning duality when we graduate from here, how many lifetimes we have here. Then we go back to Melchizedek, and we will go to a learning sphere of where we might want to have our next incarnation. Maybe we want to learn science and spirituality combined. So then we would incarnate on the planet, and we would say, that's going to take me 3,000 years to assimilate. So you will choose a lifetime with that longer lifespan, because those worlds are very advanced and you can stay living for that long. The only difference is created beings like Valiant Thor, they are eternal and they live forever. What's interesting, and I can't remember what it's called, but I have it written down. They can, after a certain period of time, change their whole persona, but everyone who knew them would still know that it's them, because it's the inner body vibration. Because when you're telepathic, you share your inner soul, your inner body, and all your feelings, your emotions. When you're telling a story, everything gets conveyed, so the other person actually feels it as well. Of course, Father Melchizedek is the architect of Melchizedek, so he is in union with Michael, Gabriel, and also Metatron. All right, here we go. I know we're almost to the end point, but let me just get here. All right, so celestials, we will all become celestials. We're in the physical universe. When we actually graduate from all our physicality here, we will then go to the astral universe, and we will live out our long days there, learning from the astral realm, because there's many realms. Just we'll be in a higher realm, but we can learn about all the various levels, even going down to the netherverse as well. And then once we graduate from there, we then graduate into becoming a celestial. We are a part of the Godhead, and we are a part of creation, and we start creating from the Godhead, which I just love and find so fascinating. So the truth to we are co-creators of the creation is absolutely on the money. This is a paradise sun here, and this is Lourdes Iamatron. She's a teacher on the interior of Venus, and she had a Chinese lifetime on Earth, and so she decided she liked her appearance there, so she stayed there. So here it is. Physical is the creation of life and astral body development. Astral creation of life, worlds, and celestial body development. And then the celestial, then the creation of worlds, galaxy, and development of the Godhead. So anyway, I think our time is up, but let's just see if we can squeeze in. Here we go. Created beings are created from the Godhead. They have no belly buttons. They're magistrates of the heavens. Valiant Thor does look after our galaxy here. This picture was taken by August Roberts, a retired Air Force photographer. And it was actually Howard Menger's at Howard Menger's farm. Howard Menger was visited by many human extraterrestrials back in the day. And when they would meet him, they had a certain handshake, and the photographer was so drawn to Val and his two companions, he took a zillion pictures of them. And he went up to Howard afterwards and he said, "Did they give you the handshake?" And he said, "Yes." So that was fascinating. This was during his tenure of the 3 years at the Pentagon. Anyway, that's my time. Again, you can, let's see, there's where am I? There we go. Here's where you guys, my website's here. You can see my short film, learn more about Valiant Thor there, get Dr. Frank's out of print books, and you can get my books at the top one.
Amazing.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. I don't think I can get this off my screen.
That was fabulous, Craig. I think, yeah, Neil can help with that. Amazing. Yeah, that was incredible. I just really enjoyed that presentation, and the pictures are so beautiful too. One thing I want to share with you, when you were talking about the Mount Shasta story, I had the biggest smile on my face because I was there that night when they met Antaral, and I have the craziest story.
Oh, you did?
I was one of the 100
people. Oh my
people
God! Can you...
there, yeah, in person. And I have the crazy story of how that happened, which is, it's a much longer story. Maybe if people want me to share it, I can do it on my own presentation tomorrow. But basically, yeah. I got guided to be on the mountain on a specific date, time, year, like everything, not knowing that that event was happening. And that picture that you shared of Panther Meadows is where I met someone. It's the craziest synchronicity. I mean, I'm from Australia. I don't know anyone in the United States, you know. I'd gone all the way over there. I met this one person who knew the only other person that I knew in America at the time. And he told me that there was this conference with Ricardo Gonzalez happening the next day. And so I was there for the whole thing when it unfolded. And then Paula Harris drove across the country, and I didn't meet the being myself. Like, this was really early days in my journey, but having seen since then all the books that have come out about it, and I just feel like so honored to have been part of that moment. And there's only like 100 people there, you know. So yeah, wild that you brought it up, and I was thinking the whole time, like, I just have such fond memories of that experience.
Yeah, it's amazing. I wish I would have known. I would have totally gone. But
I didn't even know.
Yeah, it's a great story. You should try and share your story with everyone tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, mine's probably not as exciting as other people's, because I wasn't one of the ones who met the beings, but I was just there, like, as one of the participants. So yeah, really enjoyed it. And yeah, especially I love that you included the inner earth as well, because I think sometimes people, they separate, you know, you've got the galactics and you've got the inner earth, but they're all these extra dimensional beings, and I sort of lump them in a similar category as well. So I really love that you did that. I don't know if it's my internet or yours, but you're kind of freezing up a little on my end. I do have a quick question for you before we jump off.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll try and read this out to you. One of the guests has asked a question. Are you familiar with a race who are originally from a star near Scorpio's tail, who are illegal alien refugees?
You broke up. I couldn't hear it.
Maybe I'll type it in the chat box for you.
Okay.
It says, yeah, are you familiar with a race? Or maybe Neil can do it. I don't know if it's me or him.
No,
you can hear now, right?
somebody just typed it in. No, I'm. What's that? What's that, Neil?
Oh, I didn't say anything. No, so someone was asking if you know about a race from the tail of Scorpio.
Oh, okay. I don't. I do not. But I do get a lot of people since I wrote the book telling me leopard Pleiadians. So,
yeah,
they have little red things all over their skin, but I know of beings that I've seen myself. There's rainbow washes of skin, and there's green skin, blue skin, violet skin, yellow skin, orange skin. And what's great is when an orange and maybe a yellow get together, the colors of skin, that the babies have are just amazing.
Yeah. I bet there's thousands of races out there. I mean, I'm impressed even with just 82.
I don't think you can hear me anymore.
Oh, I don't even.
Yeah.
I think it's just.
Yeah, I don't.
People can still hear me though, I think. But yeah, what I was gonna say is like I think there's probably thousands of races out there, and we're still so new to sort of uncovering, what's really out there. So Craig, thank you so much for your incredible presentation. You've got a lot of love in the comments again, and it's been very, very informative.
Well, let me just leave you. I'm going to just leave you with this statistic really fast. The Alpha Centaurians say they know of 1,019,000 races. And in the Urantia book, it says that Earth's number in the Orvonton super universe is 5,304,482,337,666.
Wow.
How's that?
Whoa. That's in the Urantia book, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Well, thank you guys so much for today. I'm sorry I couldn't see everybody else, but thank you for being here. And much love to everybody. Have a great rest of your Thursday.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, man. See you later.